Let's go. I really got the feeling today that everything is going my way. Now this is what I'm talking about. Every time I see your smile, it makes me shout. Let's go! Let's go! Nothing's gonna stop us today. Get on the bus or get out the way. We're cruising with the radio on. So turn it up to 10. Here comes our favorite song. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
Welcome to another Friday. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn, good wherever you find yourself. This is Demystify Tech with Sam. I'm yours truly, Samuel Adrani. Welcome you to another episode of the show. On today's episode, we're going to take over from where we left off using the Microsoft Bot Framework Composer. In today's episode, I'm going to show you how to connect external APIs to your bot. But before we do that, we'll be right back. Awesome, we are back. So, once again, if you're just joining us, this is the Demystify Tech Show with Sam. Every Friday, happens 10 p.m. GMT. We learn about tech stuff. We try to demystify tech. We try to build stuff with it, learn, make mistakes, break things, hack things, and then we learn from it. Thank you to all of you joining from Facebook to Twitter to YouTube to Periscope. Thank you for joining the show. Let me know what the experience is like. If you're on, you can just give me a thumbs up or high five or something like that. And then I would, try to connect with you, just, give you a shout out on the show. So, what are we talking about today? As you know, I always begin with some announcements out of the way, and then we can get into today's session. So, first announcement, embarking on Operation 10K. I want to get to 10,000 subscribers before the end of this quarter. Yeah, so if you've not subscribed and you've been visiting and you like the show, please, 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 please subscribe. Make sure you hit subscribe so that anytime I publish any video or content, you'll be the first to get it. Also, tomorrow, the Global actually started yesterday. Global Azure Bootcamp started yesterday, but I will be delivering two sessions tomorrow, all on IoT and BS. So catch me on this same on my stream because they're also going to be streamed live from my YouTube page. So check out my YouTube page tomorrow from 10 and then I think 2 p.m. GMT. You get more of that there. Also, I want to talk to you about Project Tech on Wheels. It is my CSR, something I'm using, I'm doing a project I'm embarking on to take technology to the deprived places or regions or urban places, sorry, rural places in the country. So things like robotics, IoT, programming, creatives, all that, animation, illustrations, all that. So if you want to join or you want to sponsor or you want to volunteer, hit me at any of my social handles below. You can see on your screen, and then we can do that. Hey, Nana, welcome to the show. Eric, Nana Osei, welcome to the show. All of you from Facebook to YouTube, welcome. I hope the stream is not misbehaving because I see frames are dropping, but hopefully we're getting a good experience. Now, I also want to talk to you about the 30 days to learn program by Microsoft. It's a challenge that gives you 30 days to learn anything on the Microsoft ecosystem. Edwin, welcome to the show. Yeah, I can see my returning student. Good, 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 good. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good call, guys. Awesome for making it on the show. Let's learn and have some crazy fun. Let's see. Yep, so check out the 30 days learn program. Learn something new, learn, let's equip ourselves. Well, that will be it for announcement. So with that out of the way, let's get into today's show. So we're going to in today's episode, I'm going to recap what the bot framework is, and then what framework composer is, and then I would actually talk about briefly how what the whole thing is about and people using it and what you can use it for. Just as a recap to those that don't know what it is. But then all the videos we've done from the Kofi Ghana bot are on my YouTube page, so you can go check them out how we built it. But today we'll be concentrating on how to connect external APIs. We did that in one episode, but I want to just go back and recap so that I provide options for people, kind of like an update to that, so people can understand how to do that the more. Yep. So with that said, let's get cranking. And let me know if how the stream is like for most of you on YouTube and other. If it's smooth, let me know. I still see frames being dropped. It's surprising. I don't know what's happening, but yeah. So to get things rolling, let's bring out our slide, which we're going to talk through, and then once that happens, we will continue. So let's bring this here. Let's move here so that we can enjoy um, some nice stuff. All right, so today's episode 27, Bot Framework Composer. We're going to talk about integrating external APIs. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. You can reach me at any of those social media handles you can see down there. If you have any questions during the stream, just put them in the chat. I'll see them and I'll answer the questions that you may have. So let's get into it. So today's agenda, we'll be talking about a recap of the Microsoft Bot Framework is, and then we'll talk about some components of a conversational AI experience. We'll talk about some of the cognitive services that you can use you building your bot. I'll talk about the bot lifecycle, and then I'll talk just give you explain what the bot framework is, and then we'll get into today's session on integrating external APIs. If that sounds like fun, let me see a thumbs up. Let's get into it. So, what is the Microsoft Bot Framework? So yeah, well, let me actually turn off the subtitling because I want to give a full screen experience. All right, so the Microsoft Bot Framework is basically a comprehensive framework, right, for building what we call enterprise grade conversational AI experiences. So in the past, it took you a lot of effort, or you needed to have a deeper understanding of building applications or being a programmer to build enterprise level conversational AI bots or agents. All right, but what Microsoft Bot Framework does for you is to make it comprehensive and easy to use through one SDK. So that is what the Microsoft Bot Framework is about. So you can use like C Sharp, I think Node or Java or JavaScript, to create your bot. So it provides you that flexibility. All right. So what are some of the components of the Microsoft Bot Framework? Well, it entails an AI and natural language feature that allows you to create a bot that has the ability to speak, listen, understand, and learn from users with the Azure Cognitive Service. So one thing you get to understand with most of the Microsoft and Azure services is you get an underlining advantage of all the intelligence that the Azure cloud has to offer, especially in the Azure Cognitive Services. The framework also gives you an open an extensible platform where you can actually, build, test, connect with bot, interact with it, with an array of open source tools based on any language you're working with. Also, it allows you to build, secure, global, and scalable solutions, that you can integrate into existing IT infrastructure. So, which means things like what we're going to do today. If you have like your APIs or other services, you can integrate them into it using the bot framework. Then it gives you an AI experience that you can extend, brand, keeping, control it the way you want. It's not one of those magic boxes that does things and you don't even understand or know what's happening. this gives you the ability to do that, to own it and to control it the way you want. So with you would say that with a framework that gives you all these benefits, why should you even consider building conversational AI experiences? And this is the reason why. Now, beneath some of these services is the Azure Bot Service, all right, which allows you to build intelligent enterprise grade bots, that allows you to control. We've talked about that, okay. It also allows you to build, sophisticated from a basic question and answer bot to a very sophisticated virtual assistant. You can build all that with a conversational AI experience. Then it also uses a set of comprehensive, SDKs, which is open source that you can actually extend, connect, and build things whatever you want to do. And it ties into the Azure Cognitive Services. As you can see on your screen, this is like an example where UPS has used that. I mean, you can see the user experience to build, a delivery service where you can tap into. All right. So these are just some of like the power and the interesting things you can build with it. Now, so let's talk about some of the use cases. You can use the bot framework to build virtual assistants, that allows your customers to interact with your services, either at home, at work, in your car, think about it. Now, what this does is it allows you to use AI or computers to solve, hey, oh, Philomene and Yakon, welcome to the show. Hope you can take something from here and come up with some ideas and things we can build. So drop your questions if you have any, and I'll be sure to answer them. So also think about the areas of customer care. All right, you can continuously improve and personalize your customer support services by using the bot. So an example would be, let's say, I know where Philomena works, who I can actually just speak on her. So imagine with the telcos, all right, you want to check your data bundle. Well, you have to either enter some either short code, or you go to an app they have provided. All right. What if you can have a conversational bot integrated into WhatsApp, integrated into Telegram, integrated into Facebook? You can do that with a Microsoft Bot framework. Now, then also it gives you the ability to build enterprise applications. So it empowers your organization with all the AI goodies that comes with the platform that allows you to connect people, the task information, and the services in a very conversational way. So who are the customers or the clients or enterprises that have implemented this? Well, let's start with La Liga. So La Liga boosts fans engagement across multiple channels with its own virtual assistant. So La Liga is actually using the bot framework to build a virtual assistant that interacts with their with football fans. Then we can talk about Telefonica. It's a Spanish telco customer service that uses digital bots called Aura to manage account, get real-time support, check data usage, or even review billing information, all through a voice interaction in several languages. And this is available for you by the bot framework. Now, we also have progressive insurance. Actually, the Flow chatbot, if you're familiar with progressive, Flow, the Flow chatbot answers and provides quotes and even offers a bit of witty banter in a Flow well-known style. So insurance companies are leveraging it. Telephone companies or telcos are leveraging it. Football leagues are leveraging it. Adobe is another, company leveraging it that uses has a chatbot that reduces the friction or point of customer the point customers go through on their learning journey. So they use a bot to help people also what on board. Then you can talk about the University of South Wales. They have harnessed the power of the Microsoft Bot framework, all right, to create a more engaging learning community. Last but not the least, Jets.com actually serves customers faster, optimizing customer care while reducing call handling. So you can think of using the bot framework to build some of these engaging agents or assistants that take off the burden from your human agent until something critical needs to happen. So what are some of the components of the this conversational AI or the bot framework? I'm going to share that with you now. So as you can see, the bot framework has different components. All right, you have the channels like Teams, Skype, Twitter, Slack, Alexa, emails, chat. Those are channels that you can integrate your bot into. All right, then you have inputs like if you have a touch enabled device, you can tap, you can use adaptive cards, you can type, you can speak, And then also devices like it can connect to your car, smart things, watches, phones, all through the Azure Bot Service. And then it can also take information using cognitive services derived from like the speech, Q&A, language understanding, vision, and then use things like the knowledge networks and also connect it to external stuff. And as you can see down here, we have what APIs. That's what we will be taking a look at. Now, with that said, let's take a look at some of the cognitive services. So you can use the language cognitive service, so which is like a machine learning based service that allows your bots to quickly understand, and improve what people are saying to it. Then also Q&A maker that allows your bot, to use published frequently asked questions URL to create an interaction between your users. Then we can also talk about the speech. All right, so the speech cognitive service allow your bot to hear commands, identify who's speaking, translate it, extract their intentions, and then serve them properly. Then we can also talk about the search feature. You can use the cognitive search feature that allows you to search across your data, your inventory. All this power are accessible using some of the cognitive service which you can connect to your bot. Then finally, vishing, where your bot even has the capability to recognize faces, moderate content. If people are posting nude pictures and stuff like that, your bot has the capability to moderate that, index images, do computer vision recognitions and stuff like that. So all these cognitive services or AI power is available within the bot framework to use to build your bot. All right. Now, let's take a look at the life cycle of a bot. Now, your bot definition or design starts from the design phase. So you design the bot. This is what I want the bot to do. I want it to do A, B, and C. Provide. So you design that bot. All right. Now, after you've designed the bot, you need to now what? Build the bot. Okay, which is where you're going to use the bot framework or the bot framework composer, which we are using. So you build it using any of the tools. In this case, you can use C Sharp, Visual Studio Code, Visual Studio, but we are going to be using the bot framework composer, which I'll talk about a bit later on. Then once you've done that, once you build, it's kind of like a cycle. You first of all will test. After you build, you test. Now, if you test and there are any issues, you go back and build again. So you tested, there were issues, you fix it, and you build again and you test. So this cycle continues until you have your solid bot designed, so your bot built without any issues. Then you are going to deploy it. All right, you're going to deploy or publish it. Now, so you can publish it in Azure directly, or you can use a CI/CD pipeline to publish your bot. Now, once it is published, you can actually connect it to channels. So like Microsoft Teams, Cortana, Alexa, Facebook, Slack. You can now connect your bot to any of these channels to interact with it. Um, Once you've connected to it, what you also have the capability to now evaluate, which is you have resources or tools available for you to actually test to make sure that you are viewing analytics of how your bot is performing, how people are using the bot, where they are dropping off, the paths they are taking. All this is available for you in the bot SDK. Now, the bot SDK on its own allows you to write code to do this. Write your code based on the language you're familiar with. However, this is where the bot framework composer comes in. So the bot framework composer is basically is an open source visual authoring canvas that allows for developers and multidisciplinary teams to design, build conversational experiences with language understanding, QA maker, and all the sophisticated things that Azure Bot SDK has to offer. All right. So with your understanding of this is just a quick recap of what the whole bot framework and all that is. With this quick recap, all right, we're not going to get into today's session of actually showing how to connect to an API. All right. So if this you feel this is interesting, if you have any questions on the slides I just shared, please let me know so that I can actually answer those questions for you before we move on. Hopefully we are getting a good experience. Sorry, I'm still a bit worried about the frames dropping I'm seeing. I'm not sure if it's giving a good experience, but kindly let me know if that's the case, so I know how to handle or address this. Um, yeah. So I see we're dropping frames, but I don't know if the experience from your side is the same. Anyway, well, let's do it. I'm dropping about 12% uh of frames, but hopefully it's not that terrible. Okay, so if you're not familiar with us, how to use it, go back to last week's episode. I showed you how to set up and install, how do you call it, set up your environment. So I'm going to open my bot framework composer, which is what we're going to use. And then before then, let me go ahead and open. I'm going to show you the, how do you call it? I'm going to show you the API we are going to use. Okay, we're just going to build a very simple um, a simple test and then connect it to that external API. So yeah, so this is our bot framework. Hold on, let's go here. So let's go to the numbers API, api.com. Hopefully I got this right. Yeah, it's not secured. That's it. So the numbers API, yeah, this is it. The numbers API. Okay, let me open my Zoom it too, so I can give you guys yeah. So the numbers API is a set of it's a very interesting API I like to use a lot. It's the simplest of APIs I like to use. This doesn't have any authentication, but in subsequent streams, we'll go through authentication, we'll go through other things. But for today's session, we're going to use a very basic API. So this numbers API gives you info or random fact about numbers relating to math, relating to relating to math, relating to trivia, all right, and then relating to dates. So if you call this, or you can actually have a random one, either you use it. So it allows you to call math and pass a number, all right. That's the first one, and then it also allows you to pass, either just do a random trivia, random year, or random math. Okay, so if you look at this thing, you have an option to get give me a random trivia about 5, or give me a random trivia about a number. Okay, so for today's episode, we're going to start with, passing a number, and then we're going to give you a random, just a random fact about that number. But then your homework would be to create, to try to extract intent, whether the person wants a math random fact or a trivia or a date. All right, but for today, we're just going to do a random one. So we're going to invoke a bot, ask the bot, hey, I want something about for a particular number, and then it will call that API and go pull the information for us. All right, so realize that here, if I go ahead and run this and I say 25. All right, if I call, so it's as simple as calling this endpoint and passing 25. Do you see this? So let's take this here. We see that it says here 25 is the percentage of all scarred burns to children from hot tap water. So this is just giving you some kind of like random fact. So we're going to implement this API, okay, in our bot. So if you're new to the bot framework composer, this is how the UI looks like. Very simple, gives you some quick information about what's new in the bot composer framework, what happened, to at build concerning bot, some updates, and then on this side you can see the last bot you worked on. Let me actually zoom in here, so you can see the last bot you worked on, and then you have your menu options here. All right, so this is the configure bot you're working on. All right, but we will be building a brand new bot for the sake of just a quick recap, and then it will be up to you to go check out my channel and see all the video in building it. But from subsequent bots, we're going to build upon the configure bot. All right, so let's get into it. So to do this, to start a new bot, I'm going to actually hit here. I'm going to click the new, all right, and then I'm going to go through the process of building the bot. If you have any questions, Philomena, Edwin, Nana, Eric, if you have any questions, just put it there. If you're watching me from all around, just put it. Just if you have any question, ask me, and I'll try to answer that. So let's do that. So I'm going to click here. So let's hit new, and then as you can see now, so this here, this is an update from the previous one. That's the more reason why I'd wanted to redo this, because some people are like, well, we've done this whole building, but why do you want to do this? Well, this is the reason I wanted to just do this quick one. In our previous episode, because there has been update to the bot framework composer, we didn't have the option to pick the language, whether it's a blank bot, it's a basic conversational bot, it's a basic assistant, it's an enterprise assistant, it's a bot that's connected to the people graph or calendar or Q&A bot. All right. What Microsoft has done is that they have provided a quick template. Awesome. It's provided a quick template for you to pick so you can start, building upon things. If you are aggressive enough and then you want to start from scratch, yep, you can do a blank bot. Now, the other cool thing is that they allow you to pick which language the underlying code will be written in. That allows you to further, if you in your CI/CD, you can export that language and further modify it if you want to. All right. So that is that is the updates that I wanted you to know about. So let's go here. So if you can choose Node, you can choose C Sharp. As of now, there are more templates for C Sharp than Node. So for the sake of this, I'm going to build a blank one in which ways. So nothing really specific. So you realize that if you select any of the templates, right? As you select any of the templates, it actually loads. If you look here, it loads a definition for it. So a basic conversational bot. This template creates a simple conversational bot containing dialogues or most common conversation flows with example language models and triggers routing to these dialogues. So this is kind of like a pre-filled one. So what would you use this for? Well, create a basic conversational bot with a natural language processing recognizer, Lewis, and then you can see the basics of how this works. But for the sakes of this, we're just going to go with a blank. Okay, we've been using the default, the regular expressions recognizer, because I'll have a session that talks about Lewis recognizer. So just bear with me. So we'll go with a blank bot, and then we'll select this. I want to give it a name. Let's say it's called let's call this the numbers bot. Yeah, you don't have to put spaces there. So let's call this the numbers bot. And then I'll say that it is I'll say it's just a conversational bot that tells you stuff about numbers. All right. So the next thing is the runtime type. So let's go in here so I can explain a bit of this. Now, behind the scenes, all right, behind the scenes, the bot framework, right, is either going to deploy to an Azure web app, or it can deploy it to what? A set of Azure functions. Now, if you're familiar with the serverless concept, or building into web app, this would make more sense. So if you use the functions approach, all the base functions or the base events in the background are going to be deployed to an Azure function, and that is microsecond billing. So if that endpoint has not been called, or if that function has not been hit, you don't pay for anything. So that's something to keep in mind. All right. So I would go for the sakes, I'll just leave it to the default. This is nothing crazy. It's just the implication would be cost, because then if you deploy to an Azure web app, the server is running, you're paying for it. But that doesn't mean it's not a good situation. You might already have an Azure web app already provisioned, and you can host the bot as part, of it. Okay. So I'm going to leave it to the bot. That's my default. I can create a new folder, and then let's click on OK. And it's just spinning things up, abracadabra, doing all that, setting the environment up for us to, to do it. So the procedure we're going to go through is we're going to create the bot. All right, we're going to create the bot. Once the bot is created, we're going to begin with we're going to start with a dialogue where the user actually you can ask the bot a question and then the bot will probably respond. So in this case, because we just want to use a numbers API, we're going to be looking out for something like numbers. Okay, so you can say maybe tell me about number six or a number something. Okay, or I want to know, or you can probably start and say I want to know about a number, and then the bot can prompt us, okay, what number? Okay, and then you enter the number, then it's going to take that number and then make an HTTP call that API, get the information from that endpoint, and then bring it back, to the board for us to display. So we're going to keep it to very, bare minimum, nothing crazy, very simple, straightforward, to the point. So it's actually installing all the generators in the background to do that. So we're going to create the bot, which we are doing. We're going to add a dialogue, okay? And then after we've added the dialogue, we're going to now, create the actions you can perform within the bot. So let's go the full screen to do this so that you don't miss any part of it. And if um, you have any questions while this is happening, hey, feel free to let me know, ask the questions, and I would be more than happy to answer you. To answer you. And yep, so people have actually used. So I get this question. Aside, all the use cases I shared, what are the common use cases? So for the common use case I've seen is more of customer service bot, or sometimes very quick Q&A or question answer bot. But I've also seen some very complex bot like the UPS delivery bot, where you can actually chat from an app and a website, and I think their Facebook account where your delivery is. So the power is it's really huge, because if you think about this, if I build a bot, let's say for instance Ghana Post, or let's use the banks or the telcos. Now, if you build a bot, okay, that's able to tell the users, maybe your customers, their account balance and stuff like that, and it's integrated in WhatsApp or Facebook. They don't have to switch context. So if I'm chatting or doing stuff on Facebook, I can go straight to your Facebook page as a bank, as a telco, and then interact with your bot to get the information I want. If I'm on Telegram, if I'm on Facebook, sorry, if I'm on WhatsApp, I can just switch to your WhatsApp bot and then ask the questions, and I get the information I want right within context. I don't have to switch context and go to different places. So these are some of the advantages of building the bot and using them. It saves your team. So imagine you have just a finite number of customer service agents, and someone is just calling to ask about the product you have, or to ask about, they want to know the balance on the account. All right, that information is already in the system that the bots can pull up for that user, than to hold up a human customer service agent to look up and tell you your balance. All right, so these are some of the candidates, or some of the best use cases for building bots, right? If you have any questions on what some of the use cases might be, yeah, you can just ask me, and then I would try to answer those. Yeah, I think I need to get myself some, very nice music in the background. Can't wait for the WhatsApp integration. Yes, yeah. So I know that, yeah, Edwin, I know that's something we talked about in last season or last year. So that's going to happen. Like I mentioned, for now, the integration has to go through a third party like Twilio, like Infobip, and some of these aggregators, but it can be done. So you build that, you go to these aggregators, and then it's attached to your WhatsApp for Business. So people are actually interacting from WhatsApp, but then that whole experience is carried on to the bot framework for you. So very interesting concept there. We should be seeing more of these integrations actually being done. So yep. So if there's any question whilst we wait for our platform to be provisioned, we can do that. How is this happening? Oh, I think that is why. No, that's not the reason why it's showing drop frames. Okay, hopefully we don't have let's see, I don't have anything, any other crazy thing running in the background that's actually consuming my, let's see. Pum, bananam, pum, 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 pum. All right, all right, all right, all right. This, okay, building the runtime. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Yeah, I should have actually done this before, but forgive me. I just wanted to share the whole experience, with you guys to see how this works. So, um, if you have any questions, keep it coming. We have about 18 minutes. Hopefully, I can get this out of the way for you. Quite simple. Else, we will just go and add it to Kofi Ghana bot. If you have any questions, and one thing I also would be very interested in is to know what you guys think or what you guys would want to see in the final Kofi Ghana bot, or suggestions of what integrations or what you want to see in the bot we are building, so that we can all learn together. I think you might have a use case to say, okay, how do I do this? Okay, and then we can implement that in a configure bot as part of the learning process, and then we'll do that. So don't be shy. Is there any available CLI? Yes. So the Microsoft bot framework, the SDK has a CLI if you want to use that. It is there, but for the visual, create a publishing profile. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I'll do that later. All right. So as you can see, we have it set up. So this will be your default environment. Let me zoom in and actually show a few things. So here, what did I just do? So here at the top here, you see your numbers board. This is the first action. We have a greetings action. All right. And then once you select it, you have the option. Uh, you have the option to, how do you call it, um, to drag and drop stuff on it. Now, one thing I want us to see is here on the right side here. So this is where we are actually defining our bot. So we're going to use we can either use a default recognizer or the regular expressions recognizer. Whether we want an auto end of the dialog, okay, and then what is the default result we want anytime there's an interaction with the dialog, and then what dialogues to add to the dialog set. Now you can create a dialog set. Now when we get to a bit advanced in this season, you understand that sometimes it's good to build your interactions modular. So you build modular dialogues that you can always keep referring back to when you want. Else you find yourself branching to do things that are repeated. So just I will explain this better when we are treating more on dialogues and how to do that. So auto end dialog, if you set it to true, as soon as you finish interactions with the dialog, it will just end, okay, without any further actions. If you set it to false, you need to remember to end the dialog using the end dialog action, okay, when that's done. We're going to leave that to true. And then for the dialog result, this is just the value that is passed back to a parent result. So you can use dialog.result to get like the information returned from a previous dialog. So let me open, sorry, I try to keep a list of the properties here so that I don't mess that up. So yeah, that's basically the quick setup. So now if I go to greetings, if I click greetings, you see that I have this drag and drop UI where it says greetings, each value in 10. So this is it. So what do I, when this runs, what's the first thing that happens? Okay, so you can see send a response anytime the bot starts. It says welcome, welcome user. Now this is actually a template. This is a template that's somewhere. So let's go ahead. So with this, I'm just going to run the bot here, just so you see from the top here. I'm just going to hit run. It's going to run it and then ask me to either use the emulator or chat. I just want you to show out of the box, okay, what this does. So let's run this. So we're waiting for that to Okay, let's allow it. And then I'm going to go ahead. So you see, I can, from here, it's running, it's saying that, do I want to test it in an open web chat, or I want to actually test it in the emulator, all right? And I want to use the emulator because that kind of gives me like the bot or chat experience. So I'll use the emulator, and then this is actually going to open the bot emulator, which I showed you where to download and the steps to go to, install it. Okay. So this should be running. So as you see, so do you see that here? Uh, let's do this, and then let me zoom in here. So as you can see, when immediately the bot started, it says what? Uh, Welcome to the empty bot sample, because we didn't change it. All right. If I send hi, it's just not going to do anything because nothing has been designed for it yet. So if you go here, right, ask a question. So this is actually a template. Okay. Let me go here and look for the bot responses, and then let's go for the common one. So do you see it? So this is a common one here. So this is the template. Welcome user. And then this is where there is, so if you call this template, this is the response you get. Welcome to the empty bot sample. All right. So this is where the template is coming from. I don't have any templates for number yet, so you don't see. So it's calling the welcome user template. So if I go to common here, I can actually edit this and say welcome to the numbers smart bot. Okay, right? So we have this, we save this, and then now I'm going to restart the bot. So I just saved, all I did was just to change this template and then restart the bot. Now you check this out, when the flow restarts, when the bot, okay, oh, there you go. So I'm going to copy this. And actually, let me restart the conversation. Now, do you see it? Welcome to the numbers smart bot. So I've changed that template, and it allows me to do it. But at this point, all we are doing is just a greeting. So if you come into the bot, it's greeting you with this message. All right. Nothing has been done yet. So let's go back to the design. So what do I want to do? And you see the way, one thing I want you to take a note is how easy it is to call the template. All right. So you have the dollar sign, the curly brackets, and then you call the name of the template, welcome user, you call it, and then it's going to render that. So this is one of the template language features that the bot framework has, that with this you can do a lot of crazy and interesting things when your bot is interacting. That is why this is some of the things that allow for the conversational AI part of your bots to be done. So let's get into it. So this is the step. Okay. So this is where the bot is starting. It says that send a response. Now, anytime you launch the bot, it sends you a response. But what we want to do is that we want to ask the user why they are here or interact with them. And this is part of what you would do in your design, in your planning and design phase. You're going to design and plan the bot in such a way that you know how people interact with the bot, how they come in and stuff like that, the flow, the turns, the interactions. We can talk about that in a later conversation. All right. But today, and yeah, because we started like 7-10 minutes late, please permit me to go, to add about 10 minutes to the stream, and then we can get this going. So in order not to waste much time, so you just go in here and then you click the plus sign here. All right, this plus sign. All right, you click this plus sign and then you add your next interaction. That is why we say the bot framework composer is a visual canvas. All right, more of this you can find on my channel. So I'm going to click here, click on it, and then I'm going to say ask a question. Okay, and the question I'm going to ask is just a test. Okay, it's just a test question. So how do I want to, what's the question I want to ask? Okay, so if you look at this here, It's simply asking me, what do I want to, what was the question I want to ask the person. So quite simple. Let's do this. I'll say, it would ask and say, let's see, do you want me, what number do you want me to tell you about? All right, very simple. Okay, we'll just say this, which is very, 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 very simple. Let me clear this so you can see it fully. So this is very simple, all right? And if you look at, this is what the bot is asking us. Let's go here. This is what the bot is asking us, okay? What number do you want me to tell you about? Okay? Now, you can add multiple questions by hitting, or prompt by actually hitting this plus sign and adding more to it. But this is what I want you to. So um, the the question you've asked, you'd expect that the user response. That is where you have the user input, what the user is responding with, and which variable is storing it, because you need that in your subsequent step. So the bot asks, and you can see you can add a new variation like I mentioned. Um, let's say what's your lucky number? Okay, let's use this. So I have two variations, response variations. Okay, so now with this done, I'm going to select the user input panel, which is the next one here, and then here I want to specify the property relating to, what the information the person is passing. Okay, like for instance, this is going to be, let's say, the user's number. Okay, or it could be anything. So in this case, I'll just go ahead and say I want to call this user dot number, because that is how I'm going to reference it, okay, in how do you call it, in our API request. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. So I'll call this user dot, and you see I'm getting some IntelliSense there. All right, so I'll call it user dot number. So this tells me that anytime I want to get the number the person passed as part of their conversation with the bot, I can get it from there. Then if you look at the output format, okay, you can decide to, here you can use expressions. So for instance, when the person enters a number and I don't want to, like I don't want to, how do you call it, I don't want to have spaces or stuff in front of it, I can use the trim. So I'm going to use equal to, it tells me I want to use an expression, and then I can use, as you can see, trim, and then instead of text I'm going to say this. All right, which is referencing the current user input. Okay, so all I'm saying is that anytime before I output this response to the next action, I make sure that I'm trimming any white spaces, you know, in front, or leading or trailing white spaces. All right, to do that. All right. So with this done, after you've entered this, I can actually set like validation rules if I want to. Okay, to make sure that the number is not zero, the number. But in this case, we're not going to go through that. If you want to learn more, I showed how to do this, in my subsequent episodes. All right, and all this is saying is that it just allows you to enter, like for instance, validation. If the person enters a wrong number, what you want to do. But we're not talking about that today. We're just strictly talking about how I can take input and call an external API. All right, so let's leave it to that way. Now, once we get the user input, okay, so prompt, and then we get the user input. Now once we get the user input, we want to make an API call. Okay, that's the easiest. So the next thing to do is, again, you're going to click here on the add. Let me zoom in so you see this step. So here the same thing. After we have this information, what do we want to do? So you're going to click on this plus, and then we're going to perform an action. All right, so let's click here, And the action here, perform an action. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. So let's go to access external resource. So you can see if I open this up for you for external resources, these are what I can do. I can connect to a skill. A skill is kind of like an action, an external action you've created and you want to invoke. I can send an HTTP request. I can emit an event that maybe another system, kind of like a webhook, that another system can pick up. I can do an auth O authentication. I can connect to a knowledge base. I can sign the person off. I can do all that. But today we are more interested in sending an HTTP request because our API or external service is an HTTP call. All right. So I click on that. And as you can see from here, these are the various information I need to pass, all right, to that HTTP request. Right? So we're going to do this very, very easy and simple. So I'll provide the method here, which is get, and then I'll put the URL here. If you remember, it is numbersapi.com/the number. And then we don't need to pass anything in the body, and that's it. We'll just call it, check the response, and see what we have. Okay. So let's do this quickly because we are running out of time. So it's a get, and it is HTTP numbers, so make sure I spell that, numbersapi.com, and then front slash. So now here we are passing our user input, which is what? User, I think I copied it so I can easily paste it. Yes, user.number. Do you see that? Saying that I'm calling get, the method is a get, and this is the endpoint, numbersapi.com/. So you see this user input, which is from above. All right. And that is all we need for this API. If you were using another API, there might be things you need to think about, like maybe you have to pass in a key and stuff like that. All right. Now the result property is something I want you to check out. Okay. Here, that is how do you expect to receive the result? Okay. Is it plain text? Is it JSON? Is it stuff like that? Okay. In my case, it's just going to return the information, all right, in the body. Nothing. I'm not going to do any content type or response type. So I want to call this. I'll call this API. No, let's say dialog. Yeah, let's say dialog.api .api underscore response. Okay. So all that I'm saying here is hope so you see this. So I'm using a get, calling this endpoint, and I want you to put the result in a property called dialog.api underscore response. Okay, I'll just leave it as it's a plain text thing. I'm not going to set any of this, but this here, kind of like, yeah, quite simple. All right. So let's make sure we have this because we're going to reference this when we are returning the result to the user. So I'm going to copy this as well and keep it somewhere, because that is how I'll return the response. So yeah, with this done, okay, a couple of things you need to understand. When you make API calls, okay, you're going to get actually four stuff. You're going to get four properties. You're going to get the status code. You're going to get the reason phrase. You're going to get the content of that API response. And you're going to get headers. All right. Now, if your response type is JSON, it will be deserialized for you to see. So, if you want to get the content of your call, you're going to get something like, you're going to call dialog.api underscore response and then dot content. All right. Because we are calling it dialog underscore API, we can check the status code. We can check all that. Now, after making the HTTP request, we want to test whether the result was positive or negative. Okay, you need to put the checks in place, but because we are running out of time, I have done that in the previous episode. So today I'm just going to show the result. I'm not going to do any check to see if it is successful 200 or 404. Go back and watch the previous video. That is there. All right. But what we're going to do is we're just going to we're not going to branch off. We're just going to send a response. Okay, we're just going to send a response quickly to them, and then yeah, we'll see how that goes. So let's go ahead and then do this. Let's go. I'm going to do this here. Click the plus here, and then this time around, I want to. I can decide to set properties. All right. I can branch and say manage properties, like you can see here, and then I can set a property. All right. And then I can set the property and return it. All right. Or I can just go ahead and, but for the sakes of the session, let me show you how to do this, and then you can build upon that. So I'll go ahead and select set properties, and remember, I am not doing any check. All right, I'm not doing any check. So when you click the set property, I'm going to passing this information. All right, so this is going to be called, let's say number. No, I'll call this dialog. So dialog dot, let's say, number, let's say, so let's say, yeah, dialog dot num, or let's say dialog dot fact. All right, or let's call it this way, number underscore fact. All right, so dialog dot number underscore fact. Now this dialog dot number underscore fact, what is it going to, what is the value? All right, and if you remember, the value is what we said. We called it dialog. If you look down here, so it's dialog dot API underscore response. Okay, so this gives us so I can say response dot, let's just do this, content. All right, for now. And that's just going to give us the content. We don't need to do anything here. All right, we don't need to do anything. So all I'm going to do now is, now that I have set this property, I can use this property down the line. So I'm just going to click here and then send a response. Okay, and then in the response, I can go ahead and then do something like this. So let's say it's just going to return it to us. So we can go ahead and actually click this. All right, I think we have so we can see dialog. Where is that? So you see the dialog.number.fact. Okay, here, this is it. So we just want to return that fact. All right, so let's restart the bot again, and then let's see how that works. So very simple. So to call an external API, you use the HTTP request. A good practice will be to check if the status code is 200 or 400 or whatever that is, and then based on that, you can collect information returned from your API and display. Now we're just doing a very basic one. So let's go back to here, and I'm going to restart. So restart. Welcome to the numbers bot. What's your lucky number? Let's say 7, and I hit enter. So it goes around to do that. Oh, hold on. Sorry. I think we skipped something here. So look at this. Before we do that, check this out. So it posted it, all right, and then it returned. It got a result for us. Okay, you can actually open this up and see. You see the response of stuff that came in. All right. So let's go and quickly fix this. Yeah, let me quickly fix this before. Let's fix this here. So I can actually, yeah, let's keep it running. So here, what's the response? I said, yeah, so we have the dialog, the API response.content, which, okay, let's go and look at the let's go look at the property. Yeah, so this is the property. So, okay, we don't have any content.